following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
I know that I hurt you.
Yeah.
I was a child trying to be a man.
To all my sons worldwide, all my juniors, I apologize for my absence. I know I left you without a name to drop. I don't know how I expected you to get your clout up and get your money up, but don't worry. Daddy's home.
And I know I missed so much of your life.
Turn me up. Yeah. No, they need to stop. I'm standing at the top, that's how I know you never seen the top. Sierra Kane parking lot, looking like Magic City parking lot. Hear the talks when I walk by, like you know it's over when he drop. Hey, drop, yeah. And I'm coming with the wop. Y'all not popping. Then she going shopping. Whoa, I'm running out of ops. They're running out of options. Put them up for adoption. Sign my name on it.
Welcome in. Happy Wednesday. You are locked in with Joe Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Here with your entertainment news update. You know we got you with the viral stories that are up and down your timeline. Those trending topics that have everybody talking. We're here with your front row seat to the culture. Shout out to Drake. Shout out to Montell Jordan. We're going to get into how those two are related later on. That's one of the stories that we're getting into tonight. Plus, we're talking about Joy Taylor. She recently appeared on Paul Pierce's After Dark podcast. And, you know, the truth is a wild boy. And they get into some things on there. And Joy was down to play this particular day. So she is sharing why men that are man of God types should stay far away from her. Far, far away from her. Plus, she breaks down her age range on men that she would date. So we're going to get into that. And there is a bombshell accusation that has emerged against Lakers legend Byron Scott. We're going to get into some of those details. Plus, you know, it's Wednesday, so we are getting all up in the business with Damon Haley, strategist, entrepreneur, author, all of the things, co-founder of Slay Hair and Glow and Flow Beauty. So we're going to be chatting with him, you know, and if there's time, and I think there will be, I hope so, we're also going to get into Jayden Daniels' mom. She was third wheeling on his date in Miami, and, you know, the fans, they know she's his agent, but they're starting to question if she's doing maybe a little too much. But before we get into all of that, you know how we do around here. We start the evening with some conversation starters. Now, we've been talking about the Met Gala in parts all week, but it should be noted that, I mentioned last night, although the theme, you know, dandyism, was inspired by black men's fashion, there weren't as many black designers being worn on the carpet as one might expect. Shout out to Savannah James. She wore Hanifa, a black brand. The boss herself, Miss Ross, wore Ugo Mosey. And also, big ups to Lewis Hamilton. Yes, that Lewis Hamilton, the race car driver. Lewis was invited by a brand, but he bought his own table because he said you can't speak on black dandyism, black art, or black aesthetics without honoring the black women who shaped, nurtured, and redefined it all. This year, my intention was to uplift and be surrounded by some of the black women whose brilliance moves me, artists, thinkers, visionaries who carry history and possibility in everything they do. So he invited Lauryn Hill, Regina King, Danielle Deadweiler, and a couple of others at a table this year. And might I add, Lewis looked fierce on the carpet in steps. So shout out to him for recognizing the contributions that Black women make to Black men's fashion, as well as this theme. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Met Gala with DH, but I have one more thing to get into. And this one hits home, and by home, I mean Leimert Park, right here where our KBLA studios are located. So if you are familiar with the area, you know that the Vision Theater is right here in Leimert Park. And what the future of it has been kind of murky. Well, now comes an announcement that Tina Knowles is moving her Waco Theater to the Vision Theater in Leimert Park in partnership, with Marla Gibbs, the original Vision Theater owner, and, a couple of others. So shout out to them reinvesting back into the community, making sure that the arts has a place to live and thrive and breathe right here at home. We want to support that. And, of course, it's Beyonce's mama, so what are you saying? Andy?
Wrong mic. Oh. What is her name? Wendy Raquel Robinson. Does she still have her
Amazing Grace concert?
Yeah,
yes, she does.
Okay,
her acting
cool.
thing. Yes,
Can't
she
forget
does.
about that, because that's been popping off for the longest. I remember when I was a kid, my church happened to be kind of like in that same building, so I would run into her from time to time or whatnot. So I just remember that as a kid.
And that is actually a classmate of DH baby Damon Haley. They went to the Wash House together. So
can we go first? No, that I've been knowing Wendy as long as I've been alive. She grew up on my block.
Oh, excuse me. She grew up on the block.
She's a general too, but she grew up on my block.
So we'll get into those details and more when we come forward. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. If you missed our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall, the Altadena Eden Fire, 100 Days and Counting, you missed an evening of reverence, reflection, and reality.
You gotta live in the reality, because this is it. Every day, you wake up, is this my life? Don't stay in denial, because yes, it is. Don't stay in bargaining, where you're praying for a miracle, and if it wouldn't have happened, then this is what I would have done. It did.
Our panel participants kept it real. Really real.
I think, number one, it's amazing to me how we ignore systemic racism in our community, and as a people, we've apologized for so much, but when will we stop apologizing for what we have paid for? Because the truth of the matter is we paid for this.
You can always count on KBLA Talk 1580 to give it to you straight, no chaser. When you love folk, you tell them the truth. Seeking the truth, speaking the truth. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down.
It's me, Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. I see those dry elbows, baby. But don't worry, get moisturized right in the shower. So hydrated you can skip the lotion after.
Don't wanna see it dry no more. Skin so moisturized with body wash.
Look at you now, no more dry skin. Your skin gets the moisture it craves with
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. So let's get into this Montell Jordan situation, because there's always conversation about samples since they've been created, whether it's considered art. And I think at this point we can safely say that it has developed into an art form, the way that samples are flipped and utilized. But you know, there's always questions on, is it fair? Are they really making a new song? Are they just ripping off basically what was already there and coasting on that, all of these things? Well, somebody that has no complaints about their music being sampled right now is Montell Jordan. He revealed on the We Sound Crazy podcast that Drake sampling his 1995 hit, Daddy's Home. You know, we just heard Papi's Home. That's Drake's version. It helped him recoup millions of dollars in royalties. He said that the sample, which is current, well, I guess that's not the current album. That is, 2 albums ago? Certified Lover Boy? Yeah, 2 albums ago from Drake. That advanced the publishing of the original song so much so that it allowed him to recoup. Let's break this down. He had not recouped to Def Jam in 29 years. This cleared that up, right? Just think about that for a second. He still owed the label money almost 30 years after the single dropped, right? And reminder, This Is How We Do It, that album cycle, it went platinum. And it also was a high point for Def Jam's R&B side. It really kind of kicked that off. But Jordan had a public split with the label. It was kind of ugly, you know, disputes over unpaid royalties, typical things that we hear when it comes to the music industry. But Drake's sample redemption, you know, came in there and saved the day. And he even joked that the song is paying his bills better now than it did back then. So, you know, streaming, we go back and forth about, are artists being paid fairly from streaming? The impact of TikTok and things of that nature as it brings back old work. But for some of our, you know, beloved older acts, not necessarily the iconic ones, but maybe, you know, the middle class of that era, right? Not necessarily superstars, but not one-hit wonders. It's helping them to get along in their latter years. He also revealed that his own Spotify streams have increased 300%, which is more spikes in checks since Drake dropped that, and he hadn't seen that in years, even with as popular as This Is How We Do It is, because I swear, commercials, everywhere, you hear that song so much like, I don't want to hear it no more. Shout out to you, Montell. Still want you to get paid, but yeah. TH, what do you think?
I love it. So just let's break this down. One, when he says recoup, like I said, he still owed the record label money from videos, advances, all of that. So from a business perspective, everything he didn't pay the record label for their investment. But the ownership in either the mechanical side of the writing or the music, to own both of those, because those are the two pieces of the publishing.
Right.
30 years later, he's able to generate money. So I think being all up in his business, it was smart for him to have his publishing in play so that 30 years later, some young kid could come along and pay his bills today. Important for ownership. Own your publishing on the mechanical writing side as well as on the music side, and you can your estate can live forever.
I mean, indeed. So what do you think about, because we've been seeing a lot of these sales happen lately of catalogs where they're selling them. Do you agree with them selling their royalties for the big upfront chunk and not leaving it for their family to maybe, you know, be in control of later on down the line?
Yes and no. If you need the money or want the money to reinvest in something that can get you better rate of return, okay, you've talked to your financial people and said, I'm gonna sell this publishing in order to get another investment, then great, because we're just talking about assets, right? The swap of assets. That's cool. But it's an asset at that point. That's all it is. It's a financial asset. So you take the money up front versus the money long term. So I'm kind of on the fence. It's a case by case, but I would assume that if you sell something for $50 million, you're getting the money to invest in another $50 million investment that will perform better than your publishing.
I mean, because I've talked about this a lot, is that people do not consider that not everyone will know what to do with that asset. They may not know how to sell it, the commercial rights to it, get it on a soundtrack, get it featured as in part of a score or whatever. You know, the licensing thing is not easy. It's not second nature. And we often knock people for not having a lawyer or not getting involved in the business side, but it's not everyone's gifts. So you kind of have to balance the two.
Yeah, because even Montell, he wasn't selling his catalog to up-and-coming artists.
Right.
Like, he wasn't selling beats like a producer would now. So I would say if somebody's giving you 8 figures for your catalog and you can figure out some way to take that cash and outperform the catalog, do it all day, every day. If you're just getting it for money, don't do it. Don't just get it to spend the money.
Speaking of ownership, we've talked about, you know, in the sneaker game, in business game, right? People like Kanye. We've talked about new brands that have taken over, you know, in other places, Big Baller brand, people trying to come up in that area. So Shaq and AI are now president and vice president of Reebok basketball, right? We do know that they were probably their 2 biggest superstars as far as that brand goes. What was the question? That was the first. I still have my first pair from that first drop. Shaq, we know what he did with the dunk, and what was his logo? Him dunking and crashing the backboard and all of those things. So now they're heading up Reebok, and they're trying to rebrand it. That comes along with a Netflix series that's launching in June that will 6 episodes. It's following them on reigniting the brand. They're signing, we know they've signed Angel Reese, but it's showcasing that process. It's really a promotional piece, but to get some heat behind the brand. Do you think that they will be able to accomplish what they're trying to do? Because I think that it is an interesting position to be in between lifestyle and basketball. Granted, a lot of it is fused now, but...
Well, I think what Netflix is, it's basketball, lifestyle, and media. So now Reebok is saying, let's play a different role. Let's be a little bit performance. Let's be lifestyle. And now let's get in this media game to do impressions. So I think all you need is one, right? Angel Reese is a good one because she can extend through all the stuff that, you know, the training and the tight fitting stuff and all that kind of stuff. So that's a good move, but you got to go out and get a guy. You know, you got to go out and get the next one that can move the needle. Or do we get lifestyle? Do we get DJs? Because I remember Reebok had a deal with Snoop back in the day, and they used to do DJs because my former business partner Carl was on the entertainment side, and he did Reebok. So
and we had the S. Carters and the 50 Cents,
so so they did that. I think the interesting thing about ownership in footwear, though, that they can do, and I'll give it away because I've talked to some very influential people about this, being able to own your footwear silhouettes and to take them anywhere you want to take them. That's the next phase.
Okay.
The designer and the athlete get a piece of it as if it were a song.
Okay, so like they kind of get publishing like, for lack of a better term, just they get points or whatever.
Well, it's a royalty thing, but no, royalties are different than ownership. So now what if after 5 years...
it reverts back to the athlete.
To me, and I can do what I want to do with it. No different than like Ryan Coogler's Sinners. After 25 years, it reverts back to him.
Interesting. So they could burn out the retro thing, or it speeds up the retro cycle in some of those situations.
Yeah, just imagine Allen Iverson. He gets a silhouette, and he could do whatever he wants, and he could take it wherever he wants. He could take it to China and get it done and just do it in China exclusive, or he could take it to Nike and have them reversion it if he owns it, but he don't own it. Neither does the designer.
Interesting. So you think the designers are going to start calling for more?
I would, if I'm a designer. Like, we know that inventions don't happen by Thomas Edison and Ford and all this. It's the workers.
Yeah.
So similar to some of the apps that are done up in Silicon Valley, the smart people are saying, "Oh no, I need a piece of this. You can have it, but I get a piece of it or license it or something like that." That's the next phase of, I think, footwear. And I've talked to a very influential person about this and their shoe in the past. And it's compelling. It's a way to get that next person. Because you just, the talent you have to pay. Compensate. So that's just another form of compensation. And if Reebok took that approach, that would revolutionize the game. No different than Ryan Coogler's deal, they said, is going to be the end of Hollywood. Just imagine if somebody did that to whoever the next young person is coming up, to say, we're going to do the footwear, and that footwear, that silhouette reverts back to you, but you're in partnership with the designer. I get the best designers, and I'll get the best athlete.
Interesting.
And don't have to pay as much, maybe.
That's true. Speaking of big baller moves, in the playoffs, there was, I can't remember the player's name. It was during the game. I feel like he had a block or a dunk. His footwear was all in the camera. It was a Skechers shoe. Nobody's wearing Skechers, but Skechers just sold for $9 billion. And the thing that was interesting is they had none of that on their social media of this play in the playoffs. They were just asleep at the wheel. I guess they're like, we just sold for $9 billion. We don't care what you do, right? But do you think that overall, is a signature shoe still a goal for these current players now? Don't you think that there are other things that they're chasing? Does that still carry the same weight and significance that it once would it did?
No, I think MJ started it all. I mean, back in the day, my signature shoe was the Iceman shoe, before Jordan. Jordan, because he meant so much that you wanted a shoe in your name. I don't think it's as important anymore, because there was a time in business where there was a lot of signatures out there that weren't selling, and so that was the down part. We making money off signatures. They just, the demand was way further than the supply. I think that to be part of a category is fine, and you want somebody who advertises. You want somebody who can extend your brand, and that goes far beyond me having the Ant Edwards or the Donovan Mitchell or the Zion or the Ja, or if you will. So I don't think it means as much, because we don't think of LeBron's signature shoe the same way we think of MJ. We don't think of LeBron's signature shoe even like the Kobe.
Right.
So I think that there's other things that a company can offer other than just a signature shoe.
Okay. So we're going to switch gears a little bit, still kind of related, but not. Joy Taylor, she of Speak on FS1. She was recently on the Truth After Dark podcast. That is Paul Pierce's podcast. And the truth is a wild boy. We know why he got let go from ESPN. He was, showing off his afternoon delights of poker, stripping, weed, women, all of the things, right? And Disney. It's Disney, right? So he got let go. Well, now he has a podcast with a young lady who had social media buzzing, I think about a year and a half ago, about some of her comments as it relates to black women. I don't remember what those are, so we won't get into that. But Joy revealed, her age range for dating, Joy's in her 30s, is 25 to 70. She said, if you see me pull up with a 70-year-old, don't ask any questions, okay? He's got a plane. I'm doing this for all of us. Jokingly, but she talked about why she is open to dating men in all age groups. She said that, with younger men, they're freer, they are more fun. Older men have a certain type of confidence. They know how to, take care of you. They're interesting. They've lived life. So she said that she is open to the person that she connects with the most. And she also threw shade at men that proclaim themselves men of God. She said it's a red flag because most of them are hypocrites. So we're going to get into what she said.
What else is non-negotiable for you?
I'm less and less interested in religious men, if I'm being honest with you. I told Paul this the other day. I don't know. You hit me with the man of God thing. But
you say God a lot on your podcast.
God?
Yeah, you be like, God, oh my God.
Oh my God. No.
Oh my God is different.
Oh my God is different than being a man of God. If you're leading, I don't know. I've just had some. I've had some negative experiences with people that lead with their religion.
Are you religious?
Not really. No. So I would say I'm a person of faith, but I'm not. Okay. I was raised in a Baptist church, very, very religious family. I don't think that just because you're a Christian that you are, not living a good life. I'm just saying if that's the first thing that you bring to the table, it's a red flag for me because
I don't they're hiding behind their religion.
I don't care. Why? What does this matter to me?
Something happened with that before. That's what that happened.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
You might have a trigger behind that.
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
I absolutely. Yeah. I'm acknowledging. I'm triggered by this, and it's it's become a red flag for me. Wow. I'm not saying that if you believe in God that you are a red flag. I also don't give a. Just tell somebody else about it. I think for some men they think that that's what women are looking for, looking for a good Christian man.
Yeah,
and some people are, but just not me. So
that's my thing about religion too. Like man may not lead with it, but some men needed to pull them out of places. Like when there's nothing else. I felt like religion helped me pull me out of some dark places, and I believe
religion or faith.
Faith, probably faith,
right?
More so than
because to me those are two different things.
Okay,
believing in God, having spirituality, having a connection with your spiritual side, praying, all those things I do.
Yeah,
but
religion is different.
To lead with let's go to church on Sunday.
I'm Christian, I'm Catholic, I'm Baptist, whatever it is, that's your religion. Versus I'm a man of faith because I pray, I believe in a higher power.
But also for me, I feel like a lot of men that are extremely religious think that if we get together that I'm going to start doing that, and I'm not.
When we come forward, we'll get into Joy's comments, plus get your reactions. All that and more. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I know that I hurt you. I was a child trying to be a man. I walked out on my only son. I left you in your mother's hands. And now I'm standing right here.
You're in the know with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Tensions flared outside of a Grand Rapids, Michigan courthouse as protesters clashed during jury deliberations in the trial of ex-officer Christopher Shore, charged with killing a black man, Patrick Luoya.
I think that they are really weighing the options and the facts, and I really, truly hope that they come up with something soon.
The jury is deadlocked, but was told to keep trying. One person was arrested. Jurors are in deliberations today in the Tyree Nichols murder trial. 3 former Memphis officers are charged with beating him to death back in 2023. That was caught on video. None of the former officers testified. And a Lending Tree survey shows 77% of parents say raising kids is more expensive than expected, with nearly half having fewer children due to costs. The average cost to raise a child now is nearly $300,000, up 36% in 2 years. A $5,000 baby bonus is reportedly under consideration. Get BIN News Now, on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Griffith Park, a crash involving a motorcyclist. 134 eastbound before Forest Lawn is blocking the carpool and the left lane. That drive loads up away from Pass Avenue. Also, let's head out to the drive in Paramount. Another wreck, 710 northbound before Alondra. 2 right lanes are blocked here with a backup off of the 405. And it's tough right now as you make your way through Riverside. A stall on the 215 southbound before University. Carpool lane blocked. Delays away from Blaine Street. Laguna Hills, a wreck out of lanes now on the 5 northbound past Alicia Parkway. And these guys are out of lanes, but the drive is definitely there, slowing down lanes from Crown Valley Parkway.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Golden State Warriors will have to play at least a week in the NBA playoffs without Steph Curry. An MRI exam Wednesday morning revealed that Curry suffered a grade 1 strained hamstring Tuesday night in Game 1 at Minnesota. Curry is expected to miss the next 3 games in Golden State's second-round series with Minnesota. Game 2 is Thursday night in Minneapolis. Veteran women's college basketball coach Cedric Baker is the new coach at HBCU South Carolina State. In 22 years at HBCU Savannah State, Baker won 262 games and tournament championships in the MEAC and SIAC. Baker is facing a tough challenge at South Carolina State. The women's basketball program there has not had a winning season in 10 years. Tim Eatman, the previous coach at South Carolina State, was 7-84 in 3 seasons. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Pasadena City College is proud to support Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr. For over 100 years, PCC has been a pillar of the community, and we're here for you as we work together to recover from the Eaton fire and rebuild Altadena's future. At PCC, we offer diverse career education programs that prepare you for in-demand jobs, fueling both today's recovery and tomorrow's growth. Whether you're starting a new career or advancing your skills, PCC gives you tools to build your future and your community. Pasadena City College, here for the Dena, here for you. Learn more at PCCfordena.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
It breaks my heart. They ain't believing us. We the best music. They play themselves. While you hating and being jealous, you could be over here embracing that love. More blessings, more life. God did. You either
win with us or you watch us win. DJ Khaled.
They wanted to stop. Ooh. But look at us now. They counted us out.
Time to say a
They
prayer.
didn't think that we would make it up. They didn't
May we bow our heads.
Oh, but I know God did. Oh, yes, He did.
God is great. Nosedive, they just praying that I crash.
Welcome in. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Really like that song. I know we're not supposed to talk about Drake right now, even though we just did, but that still was a bop. We'll never get this song performed live because Rick Ross is on it. Rick Ross is not on Team Drake, so you may get one side of it.
They did perform this song
Together recently, though. I'm saying.
Oh, you talking about like now?
Yeah, like from this point forward.
Drake wasn't on that song.
On God did?
That was Rick Ross, Lil Wayne,
Oh,
Jay-Z.
Khaled. What did Khaled?
There you go.
Khaled.
Yeah.
Khaled. I'm tripping. Yeah. I don't know why I thought Drake was on that.
Because he's on DJ Khaled songs forever.
Forever, probably. Anyway, cool song. Cool story, Jill. So listen, speaking of music, legends, stage, this Sunday, Mother's Day, at the Kia Forum, it's still the Great Western Forum to me, but at the Kia Forum, there will be 4 legends, one stage. It's Shaka Khan, Patti LaBelle, Gladys Knight, and Stephanie Mills. And I am giving away a pair of tickets to the first caller. Light up the lines, 800-920-1580. Get your tickets in. And, yeah, go have a good time on Mother's Day for us here at KBLA. Now, let's get back into these trending topics and headlines. We were talking about Joy Taylor and her feeling that men that lead with religion or claim to be men of God are actually, a lot of times, at least according to her and her experiences, manipulative. She says that she has no problem with those that are spiritually intact, that they have faith, but that she is not religious as it stands. So I feel like I understand that. We've seen cases. Obviously, people can use any given thing to set themselves up to look greater and to be manipulative, but it is a choice just to say, oh, if you're a man of God, don't talk to me. I don't know. But I think Joy is leaning into her villain era, coming off of, now we don't know what is happening with that FS1 suit. We don't know where it stands, what positions everyone is taking. So we will have to see. But she is still moving forward with her 2 personal podcasts. She said that Taylor Rooks was too busy with her schedule right now to really be able to do it on season 2, which makes sense. However, no, I'm just playing. But she is very much leaning into more edgier topics. She's using a lot more profanity, and I think she is just embracing the position that she is sort of taking in the social zeitgeist at this time. DH, you got anything to add on this?
No, I think Taylor Rooks is blowing up. Let's give her a lot of credit. She's going to be on NBA broadcast next year, NFL, NBA. And Joy is getting a little loose with her language. I noticed that because I follow her. I like her commentary. So I think she is kind of trying to create her own lane. And, hey, in terms of not wanting to get down with a man of God, she said it. Hey, those guys don't approach me. Everybody else come with it. So I ain't even mad at her.
88 from 8 to 80, dumb, cripple, and crazy.
There you go.
Are we allowed to say that anymore? Shout out to Big Daddy Kane.
Oh, I'll give it to her.
All right. So, listen, I like Joy. I understand why some people may not. Obviously, if those allegations are true, then, all of the things. But right now I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. And it's hard to stand out in this crowded market right now. So you got to do what you can to kind of set yourself up. And ladies, I know that you have heard about those men in the church that are spreading their loving to all of the flock. So don't act like you're surprised that some people feel like this. Okay, so this next story, I got to tell you, I was shocked by it. Not only shocked, listen, believe women, believe victims. But we are at an interesting time right now, right? Byron Scott, former Lakers legend, former NBA head coach, has been accused of sexual assault. The alleged incident happened 38 years ago when Scott would have been about 25 years old. The woman accusing him was, she's saying, 15 at the time. And what she is alleging happened was that she went to a private school here in LA called Campbell Hall. Campbell Hall was known to be a school where children of the wealthy attended. Some famous celebrity children went there as well. And the Lakers were filming a commercial or some type of infomercial thing there. She says she met Scott, that she gave him a tour of the school. He pulled her into a janitor's closet and assaulted her in some manner. He said afterwards they returned to the area. He had her walk him to his car. He gave her some gifts, and was like, call me sometime, we'll hang out. Now, it is important to note that he is not denying an interaction with this young lady. But what he is saying is that he didn't realize that she was underage. He believed her to be 18 years old at the time of this incident. Now, Byron, you're on a high school campus. I'm just going to go with probably not. But what I'm also going to say, which is not going to be a popular opinion, is, again, not a defense, not an excuse, just a reality. The 80s was a different time. Playing for the Lakers in the 80s was a different time. I went to a school that was adjacent, a private school, like, a little elevated, adjacent to Campbell Hall. People got down differently at the time. You think about that era, we're coming off of like the 1970s rock movement with the baby groupies. There were 13-year-old girls going to clubs on Sunset, going on tours with these rock stars. There were songs about them. I'm not excusing what happened. And again, I think it's crazy if you're on a high school campus and you meet a young lady and she's escorting you around. You don't think she's probably a high school student, but who's to judge, right? We'll have to see in court. But 38 years is hard to figure out how you're going to. She's also suing the school. Prove these accusations, prove that they were negligent in the fact. I mean, there's just a lot of balls in the air, a lot of things at play. And again, it's believe victims. I understand why victims are hesitant to come forward. I understand why they may wait. I understand why they may not ever reveal. But how do we reconcile those type of things with giving a, innocent before proven guilty without having a fair, trial situation, discussion around these type of things when we're dealing with decades and decades and decades. Some people can't remember what they had for dinner last week, but you want people to remember exact details from 40 years ago. So again, I'm not saying that, I'm not casting any doubts on this young lady. I could understand and see something happening just because of how the environment was, but I don't know. Andy, and then DH, we're coming to you.
Times must be really, really rough. I don't want to dismiss the allegation, but considering what's going on with the economy and, people losing jobs, people being deported and stuff like that, it just sounds like it reeks of desperation to go back 38 years to go ahead and file a lawsuit times must be really rough.
And it should be noted that she is suing for a relatively small amount when you consider some of the numbers that we are hearing from these cases going around. She's only suing for, from him at least, $25,000. DH, do you have anything before we come forward?
Well, yeah, I think one, I think that he admitted that it happened. And we kind of got to wait and see. I kind of think $25,000 isn't a lot. But if the woman was damaged, she has to go through the process of healing. And this is the process of healing because it's probably very fresh in her mind.
Yeah. Everything
that went down. With Byron, like I said, the Lakers winning, all of that, he probably was... It might not have been the first or the last time that happened on a commercial shoot where he shuffled somebody in the maintenance room and got busy, kind of thing. So I applaud Byron because he said, yeah, it happened. So he's out there. So we can't really say anything about him other than let's just see what happens. But if that's what women need to do to heal, they have the right and privilege to do it. But you're right, 38 years is a long time to come forward to say, I want him to pay.
Because I think some of the questions that come up, I think at times are, for some, what is the difference, or there's a fine line between, and I'm not using this specific incident, taking this off the table, but what is the fine line between an unpleasant sexual encounter and an assault? For some. Mm-hmm. Again, taking that one off the table.
Yeah, because I'm sure he might not have been forceful. He might not have covered her mouth and all of that. But once again, if she's 15 and uncomfortable, if she was 15 and he admits, then that's a legal thing, because you can't, 18 years, I think. You got to be 18 at least, like Shannon waited till the woman was 19, right? All bets off. But with that is a legal thing, and the school getting involved and all of that. Like, that's very subjective. But consensual is consensual. But if you're 15, it's deemed that you can't make those kinds of decisions. And she must, I would think that's probably it. She, the assault thing, because when I go to assault, I don't equate Byron Scott to assault.
She's saying he forcibly put her in that position.
And I'm gotta say, hey, let me listen. Let me read the transcripts and all that kind of stuff. If that's the case, hey, he's guilty. He's guilty. But like I said, 4 decades it always makes me think, I wasn't a virgin before I got married, but let me look at all the encounters to see if I forced someone, and I just don't think I did. So, I would think that somebody come out of the blue saying I would, I'd be like, wow, well, explain that to me, kind of thing. So real tough. And I like Byron. And Byron has a nice little podcast working now.
He does.
And so now she might have been seeing that in her algorithm of media saying he doesn't get to have that until my situation is resolved.
Good point. When we come forward, we're going to get into a phone call, plus these trending topics and headlines. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you ready for the hottest entertainment scoop in Los Angeles? She's bringing you exclusive interviews with today's biggest stars, behind-the-scenes Hollywood insights, and all the entertainment news you need to know. She's breaking down what's trending, what's ending, and what's just beginning in the world of entertainment. You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. With so many shows on our station weekdays and weekends, it's hard for me to keep track of all the guests who are actually in studio on any given day. I wish I'd known in advance that LADA Nathan Hochman was coming in studio for a recent interview. Had I known, I would have loved to have personally greeted him and then asked him why LA City Council member Curran Price is being criminally prosecuted for allegations of misconduct similar to the conflict of interest violations for which former City Council member Kevin De Leon is only being fined. What's that about, Mr. DA? In fairness to Mr. Hochman, it was former DA George Gascon who actually filed felony charges against Councilman Price. I opined then on how these criminal charges against Price did not pass the smell test. I was concerned then that this was yet another wayward prosecution of a high-profile black elected, not to mention a waste of taxpayer money. I am even more convinced now that this is a hot mess. To be clear, neither you or I want a bunch of self-serving, greedy, conflict of interest criminals managing the people's business inside LA City Hall. But we also don't want selective or targeted prosecution of black politicians. We've seen that movie before, and we don't need a sequel. It's hard to watch Kevin De Leon get away with paying an $18,000 fine for repeated ethics violations, what he calls an oversight, and at the same time, watch the DA's office continue its criminal prosecution of Kern Price for issues allegedly involving his wife's clients. Motions, I might add, that were passed unanimously by the LA City Councilman. What are you saying, Tavis? I'm glad you asked. DA Hochman did not start this inquisition, but he certainly has the power to stop it. I have said it before, and I will say it again. Fundamental fairness. In the absence of fundamental fairness, we experience a cascade of deteriorating conditions. The erosion of trust, the weakening of social cohesion, alienation, marginalization, the legitimacy of authority diminishes, cynicism and disengagement grow, and ultimately, people abandon civic participation altogether. Fundamental fairness, Mr. Hochman, that's all we ask. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. So before we get to Eric on the line, Lucas Frank in the chat says, I think it's odd that your actions can be deemed as an adult when you commit a violent crime at 15, but your actions are never adult if you're these are his words, not mine, fast girl in high school lying about your age. I feel where you're coming from. We don't know that she did that, but I understand the perspective on it. When are you accountable? When are you responsible for your actions? At what point, what determines you are acting of your own accord or you were being influenced and coerced? It's a complicated thing, you know? So that's why the best thing for most is sidestep that girl if you have a question about her age. Or that guy in the way that we're living right now. You know, these teachers, listen, Ray J just came out and said something happened to him as a child with one of his babysitters. We heard YG say that, so it's a lot happening in these streets, but this is obviously kind of not that. A little different. We have Eric from Carson on the line. Welcome in, Eric. How are you this evening?
What's up, Joe? How you doing?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much for sending me a birthday card. Appreciate that. Shout out to you.
You deserve it.
Thank you.
And I just want to say quickly about Mr. Scott, who I have met and respect, which is irrelevant. There was a temporary law that came out in 2022 that allowed underage plaintiffs to file these type of cases. And he was able to remain anonymous until May of this year. And so the first thing I would say is that I wouldn't have admitted it. And if I was going to admit it, then I would have got together with the school and we would have come together with a joint settlement. You know, I would have not let this get out if I was going to admit it. But if I wasn't going to admit it, I would have denied it and I would have fought it. That's the route that I think that he should have went. And to me, I feel like no disrespect to the plaintiff, but people change their minds. And, you know, when you're dealing with celebrities and money and stuff like that, people have a change of disposition years later. So I just feel like you can't put yourself in a trick box. You know, that's how I look at it.
I mean,
meaning that you I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm just saying, meaning that he knew better. You know, he was a Laker, and he had to have known better. I don't think he pushed her into no closet. I think she went in there willingly, and I think now she's looking at a cash cow, and she may have saying $25,000, but she's going for much more if she's included at school.
Well, thank you for your commentary, Eric. We always love hearing from you. Andy?
The only concern that I have with that is if she's looking at Byron Scott now as a cash cow, you weren't looking at him as a cash cow when he was actually playing.
Right. Coaching, all of the things. I mean, again, maybe she just went to therapy like DH. Maybe she just came to terms with it. But, you know, she might have still held on to the gear or the autographs or things of that nature. I don't know. I did think it was interesting that their immediate response was, I guess maybe he felt like he had nothing to hide. You know, we talked about this with Shannon Sharp. People are underestimating what is considered normal, what is considered in bounds, especially at that time period. As DH pointed out, Byron Scott was a married man at 25, playing for the Los Angeles Lakers. So, you know, listen. That's that. So, DH, tell them where they can find you.
Damon Haley. It's simple. DamonHaley on IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, website, all that. Hit me.
Appreciate you getting all up in the business. And, of course, we are here each and every day, 6 to 7 p.m., and on weekends, too. Tap in with me. I appreciate you guys rocking with me. Up next is Zoe Williams. He has some more tickets for you, so get on deck for that, and I'll tap in with you tomorrow. Have a good night.
Sky is the limit every day I reach. They was tired of me winning, now they dead sleep. No one see me with the ring, you better play deep. God did his thing when he made me. With the odds stacked against me, I could crack the Benchy. I know only God could judge us, I say that but Britney. They smell blood like a shark, they start acting fishy. Well, I'ma have to act and they gon' have to kiss me. Please don't hate me just to hate me. Before they overrate me, they gon' underestimate me. Funeral and wake me, bury me and excavate me. But I'm so cultivating, everybody replicate. Face facts, dreadlocks, face tats, I'm the apex. I made the culture what I'm doing every day back. I f***ed the world and what I did, I practice safe sex. I prayed more and said less, God did the rest.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump is calling the Obama Presidential Center a disaster, blaming cost overruns on hiring woke workers.
And he said something to the effect, I only want